Greetings. My name is Jason Marcellus, and I would like to talk about a review that appeared in the New York Times of a show that I did with pianist Marcus Roberts. This year has been the 100th anniversary of Rhapsody in Blue, and so we've done a lot of different performances. And one of them was with the Philadelphia Orchestra at Carnegie Hall in New York City, which was a great honor. It was a full house, and the people really loved the show. However, the review was interesting because there were some positive things that they said. They kind of really criticized the orchestra hard, saying that they couldn't swing, which that's another conversation. But there was one line that really caught my attention, and that line was this: by 2024 standards, Roberts is a conservative. And I wanted to talk about that because that is a subtle example of what I like to call innovation propaganda. Now, a lot of this thinking is really rooted in 1970s fusion. And what I mean by that is that you've always had people say, well, this isn't the new thing, because it is New York. It's a very New York mentality. But with the fusion music of the 1970s, like Miles Davis albums such as Bitches Brewing in a Silent Way, and bands like Return to Forever, Weather Report, Mahavishnu Orchestra, that music was almost like a new world compared to what had been recorded previously. And you start to get a listening base that looks for the next new sound. And so when the 1980s hits and you have musicians that decide, well, we actually just want to swing, that fan base says, wait, no, that's the old sound. That's already been done. No, we need to hear the new sound so the music can move forward. Yeah, there's a lot wrong with that. But anyhow, so that's where the sentiment of that statement was coming from. Because when they say 2024 standards, they're talking about a lot of the newer music uses elements from pop music, whether it's hip hop or rock or funk or electronic instruments or ambient sounds or electronic music. That would be considered new. Now, if you use the swing element, that would be considered old. And so that's where that comment was coming from about Marcus being a conservative. Now, the irony is you could argue that the guys that use the more popular elements is conservative because it plays it safe and because it's part of popular culture. Rather, when you're trying to swing, that's not a part of popular culture, and you could argue that that's going against the grain. But see how much of a mess that is? I think the bottom line is what is missing from it is, did you enjoy the show? I think we can get wrapped up in new and old, and well, they're just playing the same old thing. And a lot of times they don't really understand. A lot of that isn't the same thing at all. It's very different. They're just using older elements in new ways. But I think the bottom line is, did you enjoy the show? Now, ironically, what that critic said, sort of brushing off the music, some young people would refer to that as gatekeeping. And I find that interesting because at the end of the day, the audience at Carnegie Hall, they enjoyed the show. And that's the main thing that matters.